Να περάσουμε τώρα και να καλέσω τον κύριο Ευθύμιο Μητρόπουλο για το πρώτο πάνελ, τον Επίτιμο Γενικό Γραμματέα του ΑΕΜΟ και τον Πρόεδρο του Ιδρύματος Μαρία Τσάκος. Κύριε Μητρόπουλε.
Τον κύριο Παπαγιαννόπουλο, τον κύριο Λασκαρίδη και τον κύριο Τσαβλήρη να έρθουν. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Κρίθηκα στην ευγενική πρόσκληση της κυρίας Αθανασιάδου να συμμετάσχω στο τρίτο ναυτιλιακό συνέδριο της Ναυτεμπορικής και με ακόμη μεγαλύτερη χαρά να συνεργαστώ με προσωπικότητες ανεγνωρισμένου κύρους και καθολικής αποδοχής στη διαχείριση της πρώτης ενότητας του συνεδρίου με θέμα «Η ναυτιλία αρρωγός στην προσπάθεια της Ευρώπης να πρωταγωνιστήσει στο παγκόσμιο εμπόριο». Οι κύριοι Εμμανουέλε Γκριμάλντι, όταν τον πρωτογνώρισα στη Ρώμη στη δεκαετία του 2000, μου είπε «I won't mind you calling me Γκριμαλδάκης». Οι κύριοι Εμμανουέλε Γκριμάλντι, Πάνος Λασκαρίδης, Αναστάσιος Παπαγιαννόπουλος και Γιώργος Τσαβλήρης είναι προσωπικότητες διεθνώς προβεβλημένες και δεν έχουν ανάγκη ιδιαίτερης παρουσίασης. Εξάλλου συνοπτικά βιογραφικά σημειώματα για τον καθένα θα βρείτε στο έντυπο υλικό που σας διανεμήθη στην άφιξή σας. Με τη σύμφωνη γνώμη τους, σκοπεύω να κατευθύνω τις εργασίες της ενότητας που μας έχει ανατεθεί ως εξής. Μετά από μια δική μου γενική εισαγωγή, θα προσκαλέσω στο βήμα τους 4 πάνελις με την εξής σειρά, σταδιακά προχωρώντας από γενικά σε ειδικότερα θέματα που οι ίδιοι έχουν επιλέξει. Πρώτος ο κύριος Παπαγιαννόπουλος, κατόπιν ο κύριος Λασκαρίδης, στη συνέχεια ο κύριος Τσαβλήρης, με τον κύριο Γκριμάλντι να κλείνει τη λίστα. Θα επακολουθήσει ολιγόλεπτη συζήτηση μεταξύ των panelists πριν ανοίξουμε το βήμα να δεχθούμε ερωτήσεις από εσάς. Δεδομένου του περιορισμένου του χρόνου που έχει διατεθεί στην ενότητα, κάθε panelist έχει παρακληθεί να μην ξεπεράσει τα 7 λεπτά στην παρουσίασή του. Και ξεκινώ. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year. My fellow panelists and I are delighted to be the first to entertain you this morning, and all 5 thank Nαυτεμπορική for the opportunity. It is always a great pleasure to meet fellow servants of shipping to dwell on important issues of the industry. Looking at the theme of the conference, so diligently chosen by our hosts today, that is, Greek and European shipping, competitiveness and prospects in times of uncertainty, the last word, uncertainty, strikes me in particular, as it seems to be the one chosen in all meetings I have participated in over the last 3 months, in order to describe an endemic situation pertaining all over the world. The chain began with the 8th City of London biennial meeting last November, entitled Striving for Stability in an Uncertain World. I had then remarked that it would have been easily reversed to read Striving for Certainty in an Unstable World. Last month, I participated in Guista Elas Annual Forum. The title, Shipping Maintaining its Resilience in a Continuously Unstable Environment. The title of last year's last edition of Lloyd's List was Looking to 2017. The only certainty seems uncertainty. While writing in the same paper earlier this month, Michael Gray opts for a title within the same mantra, Uncertain Times. I take it that what the organizers of all these events and authors of the articles I just mentioned had in mind when referring to an uncertain world in an unstable environment was an all-embracing situation including economic, financial, political, geopolitical, and related matters. In considering the themes and articles, I have not without reason, found the common thread, the use of the words uncertain and unstable. I found them disconcerting, because we indeed live in a world full of uncertainties, which in turn have rendered it unstable. I'll offer the view as to where our industry stands in such a world at the end of my speech. For the time being, I congratulate Nαυτεμπορική for choosing a timely and appropriate theme for the conference, an event that takes place at a time when the world is in transition towards a multilateral, multipolar, geopolitical and geoeconomic structure, according to the statement made by Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, on the eve of this year's Davos summit, which opened this week to discuss issues such as raising global growth, technological disruption, social cohesion, geopolitical threats, and climate change. In all of this, Europe has a big say and a great interest, and I hope it will be well represented and its positions well defended and promoted. My presentation consists of two parts. In the first, I will address you as the coordinator of the panel for this session, the title of which is The Greek and European Shipping Sector's Contribution to Maintaining Europe's Leading Role in the Global Economy. In the second, I will, in the absence of an IMO representative and at the request of Nαυτεμπορική, make a very short reference to some of the most important on IMO's current agenda issues, although my friends and panelists, Panos Laskaridis and Giorgos Tsavliris, will address them in more detail in their presentation, so that we will avoid repetitions and overlappings. I'll start with some statistics on the world, the EU and Greek merchant fleets, and the potential Europe has to play a leading role in international maritime affairs. Before that, I consider it necessary to say a few words about the two parameters that influence, for better or worse, the occasional size of the world fleet: maritime trade and the population of the world. Once the current economic and financial crisis is over, the volume of international maritime trade should reasonably increase in tandem with the world economy. As the world moves towards a low-carbon future, just how that growth will manifest itself is, however, hard to predict. But one thing is certain: without cost-efficient maritime transportation, the movement of raw materials and energy in bulk to wherever in the world they are needed, and the transport of manufactured goods and products between continents, which are prerequisite for growth and development, will simply not be possible. As to the population of the world, it has already topped 7 billion, and in many developing countries is set to double by 2050. To respond to the needs of world trade and population, the world fleet of merchant ships has gradually grown to approximately 100,000 units, with a total gross tonnage of approximately 1 billion tons, a carrying capacity of some 1.75 billion deadweight tons, and a total value of about $1 trillion. It is registered in more than 150 nations and is manned by more than 1.5 million seafarers, of whom 25% are Filipinos. It is thanks to this fleet of ships and the superiority, particularly at their carrying capacity, that ships enjoy over all the other means of transportation, that the world does not starve and does not freeze. And now to the statistics I alluded to a short while ago. Within the world fleet, that of the European Union is represented by 15,000 ships, or 15%, totaling 250 million gross tonnage, or a little over 25% of the total. Within the EU fleet, that owned by Greek interests, steadily holds the first position. The fleet consists of more than 4.5 1,000 ships with a total of 342 million tons, which represents almost 20% of the total world deadweight and just less than 50% of the total EU fleet. As to the Greek participation in the main ship types, Greek owners control 30% of the world tanker fleet, 21% of the world bulk carrier fleet, and 6.35% of the world container fleet, deadweight-wise. I consider these statistics alone to be sufficient to establish the immense contribution of the European and Greek shipping sectors to maintaining Europe's leading role in the global economy, given the fact that the planet is by 3/4 covered by water and that world trade is by more than 90% served by ships. Here we have a paradox in the occasional behavior of the Union vis-à-vis the organization that the UN has wisely established to regulate shipping, IMO. Against the same statistics, which indisputably establish the European Union's might and has hence its potential to influence developments in shipping, one wonders why the Union finds it appropriate to move from time to time to regional measures in defiance of IMO, whose status as the global regulator of shipping from the safety, security, efficiency of navigation and environmental protection points of view, it undermines by so doing. Europe is strong enough, and its argumentation for new measures occasionally needed to further enhance safety and environmental protection convincing enough that it should not find it difficult to have them easily endorsed by the rest of IMO's membership, as has, without a single exception, been the case in the history of both IMO and the European Union. So why should Europe cause problems to IMO and the shipping industry? The global character of which, as Mr. Dreyfus just said, the global character of which is put into question, and the flow of international maritime trade, including trade served by European countries, unnecessarily impeded by unilateral or regional measures. So much so, when all the 28 member states of the European Union are IMO members as well, members with a strong voice, profoundly respected by the rest of the IMO membership, which in turn recognizes with appreciation their contribution to the organization achieving its objectives for safe, secure, and efficient shipping on clean oceans. Why has Europe considered it necessary to precede IMO's reaction on MRVs, and recently on its work on greenhouse gas emissions? In the past, we had such unilateral measures by the United States when adopting fire protection measures in the 60s after the Laconia, the Morro Castle, and the Yarmouth Princess fires. We had OPA 90 when we had the chaotic situation of three regulations on the double hull standards applying, one by the United States, second by the European Union, before the IMO standards through MARPOL came into force. We hear that in all Chinese major ports, they have already established 0.5% of sulfur content for ships using those ports. I remember when Neil Kinnock was the Vice President of the European Commission and Commission for Transport, we had agreed with him, and he had insisted that this should be the case, that IMO regulates, that is IMO adopts standards, global standards, and EU implements the IMO standards. Now the situation has reversed, and the EU moves ahead of IMO, thus disrupting the organization's work and causing problems to international trade. And I think that the IMO Secretary General did the right thing by asking the three EU top officials, the President of the Parliament, the President of the Council, and the President of the Commission, just 10 days ago, not to preempt IMO's work and jeopardize the success of the organization's roadmap to effectively tackle ships' emissions by including shipping in a revised EU emissions trading scheme. These and similar matters we may discuss under this session, and I look forward to a lively conversation on them. And with that, I conclude the first part of my presentation by asking a question to which I will attempt an answer myself. If those who claim that we live in an uncertain, unstable world with plenty of unpredictabilities, following some recent statements in the opposite side of the Atlantic, commentators have said that we are sailing into uncharted waters, and you know what I mean. If they are right, and I think they are, where will we be when the fog of uncertainty clears? And where will all these least positive assessments leave the industry we serve? I'll tell you. I firmly believe that irrespective of the downturns and setbacks suffered since the beginning of the 9-year-long economic and financial crisis, shipping is and will continue to be one of the few constants the world can turn to and rely upon with certainty and confidence. Against all the adversities of the recent 9 years and the challenges facing the industry at present, I think we are at long last approaching the point where from we can view the longer-term outlook of the shipping industry as largely positive. With the world population continuing to expand, and with it, its needs to be fed, clothed, heated, etc., and the forecast that emerging economies will continue to depend at an accelerating pace on raw goods and materials transported by sea, the omens, I believe, are good. And this is where I base my strong belief on our industry's resilience. Periods of crisis have been there plenty in the past, and each time shipping managed to emerge from the ashes like the mythical phoenix, leaner, healthier, and stronger, going about its business with unparalleled success and efficiency. For us, Europeans and Greeks, however, to fulfill our duty, we need to be united and work together with prudence and a due sense of responsibility vis-à-vis our society and our planet to accelerate the end of a crisis. We need to learn from the mistakes of the past and, importantly, to keep pace with changes in this technologically galloping world. Charles Darwin's words, "It is not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the most adaptable to changes," have an ample application in our industry as well. I'm confident that the new chapter we are about to open will be a fulfilling one, with our industry universally praised for the high quality of the services it renders. An industry that will be accepted by all as the cleanest, friendliest, and most fuel-efficient form of transport when cargo volumes are taken into account. An industry to be proud of. For us Europeans, the challenge is particularly significant, for we carry with us centuries of traditions, the legacy of peoples who have influenced more than any other the shaping of the world culture and civilization. Milestones such as the Minoan era, the Golden Century of Pericles, the Hellenistic period, the Roman and Byzantine times, the Renaissance, the Age of Enlightenment, and eventually the advent of the industrial period are milestones nowhere else to be found in the history of mankind. As Europeans, let us build on the glorious and heavy legacy our ancestors have bequeathed to us, and let us do it together, as one family. Let us put aside the rumored whispers about a divided Europe, a Europe of two speeds, with the North showing little respect for the accomplishments of the South. Both need each other. And if the North produces the goods, the South provides the ships that move the goods worldwide. If the North does not have enough oil and gas to feed its industry and keep it warm, the South has the tankers, LNGs, and the bulk carriers to keep the North moving. How sad that one of the strongest and most appreciated and respected members of the Union has opted to leave it. The Union will be the poorer when this happens. In a relationship between North and South, which should be one of equals, the South is left to feel as if they are the poor relatives. And this is wrong, particularly when one takes into account that the South goes to the altar with shipping and its dowry, a weapon which, in the case of Greece, I would never cease to suggest, should, when exercising economic diplomacy, as we hear from time to time prominent politicians to propose, be our country's prime negotiating weapon, the strongest arrow in its quiver. We, servants of shipping, should consider ourselves privileged that we work in a sector that has nothing to be jealous of the achievements of others. Our industry leads the way, and we should be proud of it. Together, we can defend it against unprovoked trends of regionalism and protectionism, hints of which, protectionism in particular, recently were made at both sides of the Atlantic, and instead promote the virtues of free and fair competition. Let shipping, our shipping, be the beacon that lights the way to progress and prosperity. How to achieve all this? I look forward to the contribution my fellow panelists will make in their presentations. Before, however, I invite them to the podium, I'll move on to the second part of my presentation, and that on IMO. IMO, whose World Maritime theme for the current year is Connecting Ships, Ports and People, has set as principal aims to pursue in its course the implementation of the Ballast Water Management Convention, continued work towards CO2 emissions reduction, smooth introduction of the Polar Code, progress on goal-based standards, and security and efficiency in port procedures. The Ballast Water Management Convention, I believe you all agree, is a painful saga which is coming to an end. My fellow panelists will dwell on that, as they will do on the greenhouse gas emissions, where I'll have the opportunity to make a further contribution, in particular with respect to the ambitions of Europe to cause problems to IMO. What I would like to say is that last year we saw a milestone event taking place, and that was the coming into force in November of the so-called Paris Agreement, that is the International Treaty on Climate Change. In the case of this major treaty, one can rightly claim that never before in the history of mankind has such an international treaty, especially one of such magnitude, entered into force in such a short time. Now it's up to us to do whatever is necessary to protect the planet for the sake of our children and the children of our children. The Polar Code is another milestone event in IMO's history. It entered into force on 1 January of this year. A matter that IMO has also addressed recently is about an issue that is increasingly causing concern on a worldwide basis, that of cybersecurity. Cyber risks were to be expected in a far from angelic world when cyber technologies became essential to the operation and management of numerous ship safety and security systems. Ladies and gentlemen, I have reached the end of my presentation. However, I believe that no introductory remarks at a forum of this importance will be thorough without a short reference to geopolitics, which, as we all know, play an influential role also in the shaping of shipping markets. With the US election out of the way, there are several other looming elections this year, the outcome of which may play a decisive role in the way the markets, including shipping markets, will react. France, Germany, Iran, the Netherlands, and Portugal, to mention but a few, are among those countries where the outcome of general elections later in the year may cause turbulence, whilst, in the case of the UK, the jury is still out on the impact of the Brexit referendum. Following the UK's decision to leave the European Union, and while still witnessing cracks in the economy of several EU members and in the overall cohesion structure among them, not least because of the refugee crisis, it can arguably be said that this is not the Union's finest hour. At the same time, developments in other sensitive and vulnerable parts of the world, North Korea, South China Sea, where China is becoming more assertive, challenging America's dominant role, as well as the post-war Bretton Woods system, in the Middle East, North Africa, and Venezuela, the events in these countries threaten peace and stability at a time when the world economy and international trade are still licking their wounds from the long and persisting crisis. What the future has in store for the world economy, the European Union and shipping, only time will tell. In the meantime, however, we have here four formidable speakers who I, for one, can't wait to listen to what they have to say. Let's start and let's listen to the first among them, Mr. Anastasios Papagiannopoulos. Please. Thank you.